Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot and Media. A flash flood watch is in effect for low-lying and flood-prone areas of all parishes. The flash flood watch will remain until 5 o'clock this afternoon. A cold front across Jamaica is producing unstable weather conditions across the island. The Meteorological Service says light to moderate and at times heavy showers affected sections of mainly northern parishes last night. The forecast is for periods of showers and thunderstorms to affect sections of most parishes today into tomorrow. Windy conditions are also expected mainly across sections of northern parishes. The Runaway Bay Main Road in St. Ann was impassable this morning due to heavy rains which flooded the area. The heavy rains began about 2 o'clock. TVJ News understands that vehicles were unable to use the roadway and the Runaway Bay Police Station was also flooded. TVJ's Shamela Mitchell is in St. Ann and filed this report.
The police are now trying to clear a section of the Runaway Bay Main Road where it's been impassable from last night into this morning due to heavy rains which started yesterday. As a result of the heavy rains, flood water started to rise, which made the area totally impassable. We are now along the stretch. There's a pile-up of traffic, but like I said before, the police are trying to clear the area to have a smooth flow passage.
Well, actually from 3 o'clock this morning, I woke in by the rush through the house of the water. I came to my house in Runaway Bay here, and then from a scene I said, no, because it is flooding. So I left my kids and my mother sweeping out the house and run towards the square.
This is the second time we have seen something like this here. Last year we had something similar to this, but this one seemed much worse than the one before. Right? And a lot of people, as you can see, a lot of people was brought down in the road, and I mean, like trucks, cars, buses, you name it, 4-wheel drives. But I don't know what we're going to do about this, because this to me this is a natural disaster.
More rain is predicted as it is still overcast here, but that's it for now. I'm Shamela Mitchell reporting from Runaway Bay in St. Ann for TVJ News.
Meanwhile, several houses in Trelawny were inundated after a gully overflowed its banks following the overnight rains. One disabled man says he had to be rescued by his neighbor about 3 a.m. The residents blamed the flooding on blocked drains caused by silt and trees. They say this is the second time in about 3 weeks they are being impacted by flood waters. In the meantime, teams from the National Works Agency are currently assessing the situation in affected parishes. NAA Communications Manager Stephen Shaw says the main road between Discovery Bay and Runaway Bay St. Ann, which was impassable, has been opened to vehicular traffic. Mr. Shaw says the NAA deployed heavy equipment to the area and the debris is now being removed. Over in St. Ann, emergency drain cleaning works are being done near Duns River and in the vicinity of Reynolds Pier in Ocherius. Meanwhile, in Trelawny, the main road leading from Duncan's to Clarkstown in the vicinity of the Long Pond Sugar Factory is now flooded. Motorists are advised to use the road through Daniel Town or to access or leave through the Clarkstown area. Mr. Shaw says the NAA team is also investigating reports of flooding in Martha Bay, Rio Bueno and Duncan's. And in St. Mary, the main road from the Rio Nuevo to Lambkin Hill is being impacted by landslides, reducing the corridor to single-lane traffic. Mr. Shaw is reminding motorists to exercise caution when traveling along roads which are prone to flooding and landslides. In other news, the Clarendon CIB and the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Unit CTOC have launched an investigation into a criminal network suspected of shipping arms and ammunition into the island. 3 Haitians and 2 locals, including a Clarendon businessman, have been arrested in connection with the racket. 300 assorted rounds of ammunition and millions of dollars in cash during 2 operations in Clarendon between Tuesday and yesterday. An M16 rifle which was seized last night during a follow-up raid at the businessman's home in Maypen. Head of the Area 3 headquarters, Assistant Commissioner Clifford Chambers, says investigators are trying to determine whether the criminal network is behind the importation of illegal guns into the parish.
The police know where these guns are coming in, and it is good that I can report that at this stage, coming out of operation conducted last night, yesterday, over 280 assaulted rounds of ammunition was recovered, 169 9mm rounds, and premises was searched where one of the subjects was at, and over $2.3 million was recovered from this subject. Following that, 5 persons were arrested, 3 of whom are Haitian. And again, this is indicative of the source and who are involved in these activities.
A pregnant woman was shot and killed yesterday in Linstead, St. Catherine. This comes 3 months after the death of her common-law husband, Constable Courtney Linton. The woman has been identified as 40-year-old Zoe King, a resident of Orangefield, who was killed at her home shortly after 11 a.m. TVJ News has learned that Ms. King, who was scheduled to give birth next week, was at her home when 4 armed men entered the yard. She ran from the house but was chased and shot. Head of the Criminal Investigation Branch, Senior Superintendent MacArthur Sutherland, says the cops are following strong leads in the case. It's believed that the men were in search of Ms. King's cousin, who was involved in a motorbike accident last week. People's National Party PNP Senator Damian Crawford has hit back at the statement from the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA that only one area in the Palisades Strip was approved as an entertainment zone. More in this report.
In 2015, Mr. Crawford approved the Palisades Strip as an entertainment zone. On Wednesday, NEPA's Chief Executive Officer Peter Knight told the Jamaica Gleaner that the area where the Sands Party was held Monday was not approved as an entertainment zone. Mr. Crawford noted that before the Palisades Strip became an entertainment zone, NEPA and other entities approved Gunboat as an entertainment complex.
Gunboat was approved outside of the entertainment zone. Gunboat was approved as an entertainment complex. It was leased by private individuals from 2007, and it was approved in 2014. NEPA, KSAC, everybody approved it as an entertainment complex with the purpose of hosting entertainment activities.
NEPA's Chief Executive Officer told the Gleaner that they gave approval to the Ministry of Entertainment, Sports, Culture and Gender Affairs for an entertainment zone to be established at Fort Rocky. Mr. Crawford is saying that Fort Rocky as a venue could not be the zone.
The intent of the zone is to redirect entertainment activities. We have 22,000 entertainment activities in 2016. So to redirect entertainment activities so as to reduce the nuisance of entertainment, which is nice, couldn't have one venue. So Fort Rocky as a single venue couldn't be a zone. A simple demand and supply would have caused for it to be unaffordable because everybody would then want to use Fort Rocky.
Mr. Crawford added that when the Palisades Strip became an entertainment zone, they had selected multiple areas for the zone.
Now, there would have obviously been sections along the Palisades and not the entire Palisades because you wouldn't have enough entertainment for the entire Palisades. So we identified some spots. Fort Rocky don't facilitate multiple sizes of events. So one Fort Rocky couldn't keep a small, big, large at the same time. So when it said that Fort Rocky is the zone, it signifies a misunderstanding of the zone concept.
Mr. Crawford was speaking on TVJ Smile Jamaica on a Thursday. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
There could be disruptions to the operations of the National Housing Trust NHT following the breakdown of wage talks yesterday between the management and unions representing workers. The workers are said to be restive and may take industrial action. Third Vice President of the University and Allied Workers Union, UAWU, Garfield Harvey, says the talks collapsed after the Finance Ministry sent instructions to the NHT.
The Minister of Finance has told the NHT management that the company has the ability to pay better than what it's offering or what the government tells them to offer. So the government has told the National Housing Trust that. At the same time, the government is telling the National Housing Trust not to negotiate in good faith with the union. The government is saying no new benefits, no increases in benefits, and has told the NHT that they can only afford 3% in 1 year. And our position is simply this. The National Housing Trust must be allowed to negotiate fairly and freely with the union.
He insisted that the NHT is in fact able to pay its workers, and so the negotiation process must continue.
It's not us that said it, you know. The Ministry of Finance has indicated to the National Housing Trust that yes, you do have the ability to pay. That's what the management told us. So how can the government say that the entity has the ability to pay and then turn around and tell the entity not to negotiate with the union? Can't work. No wonder the entire public sector is in problem. People who are negotiating on behalf of the government don't seem to know what they're doing.
And the island's teachers are again warning of possible industrial action next week after the Finance Ministry failed to improve its wage offer during negotiations yesterday. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Georgia Richards, declared that the teachers have given the government until Monday to improve the 6% offer over 2 years.
Although there were favorable considerations given to some of the outstanding items of the claim, the item of percentage increase was not addressed. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service indicated that the Cabinet would be meeting on Monday, January 8, 2018, to discuss some of the items submitted for consideration. The Action Committee met today and is demanding a response from Cabinet by 5 p.m. on Monday, January 8, 2018. The association remains resolute in defending the cause of the teachers of Jamaica who are fed up with the delaying tactics being employed by the government.
In news overseas, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, indicted on money laundering and other charges, has filed a lawsuit challenging the broad authority of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Manafort has alleged that the Justice Department violated the law in appointing Mueller. Details from the CNN.
This lawsuit was filed by Paul Manafort against Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, as well as Robert Mueller, the Special Counsel, and the Justice Department. The essence of the lawsuit is that Robert Mueller and his appointment essentially exceeds what the authority is under the law that governs Special Counsel, and that even if the appointment of Mueller was lawful, that Mueller has exceeded his authority in bringing these charges against Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. If you remember, those charges were filed a few weeks ago. The focus of the lawsuit seems to be on the part of Rod Rosenstein's order back in May, which appointed Robert Mueller. And the order says that in addition to investigating the alleged meddling by the Russians in the 2016 election, it also says that Mueller may investigate any matters that arose or may arise directly from the investigation. According to the lawsuit filed by Manafort just a short while ago, it says that essentially the Rosenstein's order gives Mueller, quote, carte blanche to investigate and pursue criminal charges in connection with anything he stumbles across while investigating, no matter how remote from the specific matter identified as the subject of the appointment order.
Over in sports, Reno were bumped out of the top 6 last Thursday, and a day later, they lost their franchise player in Craig Foster. With a new coach among their ranks, many may be wondering how the 3-time former champions will fare in the Red Stripe Premier League.
It's an age-old problem for Reno. They start each season looking like title contenders, going north. But come December, they start heading south for the drop zone. Last season, they were saved by the return of Craig Foster, but after firing them into the top 6 this season, Foster has said his goodbyes, leaving for Humble Lion, as the club is now left without a match winner. They are now hoping the young ones can lead the way.
Just like any other team, we're looking to freshen up. It's presently a young team, reasonably young team with some experienced players. Good enough team, as I said, to be performing much better than they're performing now. But yes, we'll be looking to see where we can freshen up the team with some of the younger players that would have just concluded their schoolboy season.
With a top player out, Reno have brought in a winning coach in Vassal Reynolds, who've led Raciz to the Costa Cup glory. Reynolds has been to the Premier League before and knows this will be a different challenge, but a manageable one, he feels.
With the sort of performance so far, I see no reason why they can't finish in the playoff semi-final round. So I'm very, very optimistic.
Reynolds' first test will be against leaders Portmore United at home, a team they've beaten 3-0 this season at Frome.
The culture of playing just after the festive season would have affected a number of teams, a number of players. So we just have to work with it. The fact of the matter is that we have a very important game come Thursday, and we need to prepare as best as possible to get a result out of that game.
Elsewhere on Thursday's fixture, it's the Garden Fever between second-placed Arnett Gardens and third-placed Tivoli Gardens at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex. It took a late goal to give Arnett victory in their first meeting at the same venue. Fourth-placed Cavalier will take on Sandals South Coast in the battle of the promoted teams at the Stadium East Field. Humble Lion, with their new signees, will be at home to Waterhouse in Donovan Duke's second visit to his former club. The first ended 0-0. And UEFC will take on the depleted Montague Bay United, while it will be East versus West when Harbourview host Boys Town at the compound.
And that's the midday news. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Do remember to join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.